In this video, we're going to talk about the drafting template steps. So this is a little bit more of a time-consuming process. So if you have some time to set aside for this, that's what you really want to do. It can take somewhere about an hour, maybe 2 hours-ish to get this set up. Depending on the job size, again, a lot of these steps do have a little bit of variation in time, just depending on how much you have to do, like how large is the job, how many equipments you have to find, how many materials to look up, etc. So in this one, for the template, we need to start by looking up all equipment, plumbing, fixtures, and hardware, which we've done the hardware already, but we're going to be looking for equipment, plumbing, and then the hardware drawings too. Then we're going to look at what it takes to add blocks to the bottom of our template in the model space, which will allow the drafting team to be able to access those as they are working on drawings. Without having to go looking up the equipment or the plumbing fixtures on a different website and spend a little bit of time researching. We can kind of alleviate that time spent by doing that up front. Other things that we're going to be doing too is adding project materials and hardwares to the page notes. We are going to be sure that we try to remove any TBDs as much as possible, as that does lead to confusion and uneasiness later on when we get into ordering for the job. Then the last thing we got to do is fill out all the job information on the title block. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to open up a blank template. So for us, we need to go to the engineering in-house folder. And it's going to be under A templates. And there, I got to switch mine actually to DWT. If you have it on DWG, you won't see the template in there, so you got to flip that over. And then I got to go back and navigate to that again one more time. All right, here we go. So master template. This is the most current master template we have in our inventory. We are going to open that up. And before we make any changes at all, we're going to take this and we're going to save it into our job folder. So I'm going to save as. Got to navigate over to the Perkins and Will job folder, 6479, drawings. And then we want to save this in the prelim project folder. That's where all of the CAD files are going to be living for the whole team. So we want to make sure that this goes there with that. When you save it, it's a good idea to save it with this naming convention here as well. So again, just checking that here, 6479 P and W 1315 Peachtree Lobby. That's a large name, but all right. 6479 P. Is it and sign or plus? I gotta look again. I'm sorry. And sign W. See, 1315 Peachtree Lobby. Got it. And then you follow that up by drafting template. All right, that's all you need. You're going to go ahead and save that in that folder there. It's going to ask you for a description. I never filled that out. There's really nothing to really put there, so we're just going to go ahead and hit OK. And then from there, we have the start of our template. There's obviously more to do as we look at this for where we are currently as of the 14th of April in 2026. We have the grid here, which helps the drafting team set up any of the blocks or any of the drawings that they need. And then the blocks that we are going to provide will be down here. We'll get to that in a moment. We're going to include any plumbing equipment, if there's any food service equipment, which in this case there probably isn't, but we will look for that. And then any on-site standard blocks, which will be any poles or anything that will be relevant to the job that we need to include. There's also brand new blocks down here for cabinet pole details. So this is brand new as of this current job. So these details are set up in a way that what you can do is you can set up a standard pole location and you just drop the pole block on the pole detail block. And if you need to, you can switch between whether you have a lock whether you don't have a lock, and then also what type of cabinet you are looking at here too. So we'll get into that in a little bit, but let's start off by looking up the equipment. So again, I have my template saved. I'm going to put that off to the side for the moment. We're going to go over to the Perkins and Will drawings, and we're going to find the equipment schedule. Let's see here. Oh, sorry, wrong drawing. It's this guy right here. So as soon as that opens, we are going to be able to start pulling that, and we're going to do a little bit of research, looking these up online, trying to download any cut sheets for the equipment, also looking for any standard CAD drawings of that equipment as well, if there is any accessible to us. So we'll just, here we go, that's what I'm looking for. So just kind of like what we did the other day with the finishes, we're going to do the same thing here now for the equipment. So let's start here. Under equipment schedule, we get a internet pulled up. All right. So first and foremost, we have display model. Let's see, what is this? It's a Rax brand wall-mounted shelving assembly type M. Now we did try to look this up the other day, and I wasn't having any luck with that. I will try to find it again here just to see if there's something that comes up that I can pull from. Let's see, we'll just try Rack's website first. See if we can find this, because I'm sure that it's got to be on there somewhere. And what do they refer to that as? Is wall-mounted shelving assembly style bracket, or rack style brackets and type M wall standard. So let's see. We just need to find out what type M is. So so we'll start here. See, there some of these websites do have, you gotta look for them, but they will have CAD files and also cut sheets too. Sometimes the CAD files aren't clearly stated as being CAD files. Sometimes they will be under something like resources or downloads or specifications even. So what you need to do is kind of take a look at that first. I'm going to look at this install guide and see if this gives us any clues as to where the type M comes from. Oh, here we go. There's a type M right there. Okay, so that's referring to the standards. So that would be what we see there, type M wall standard. So that's a product that they offer. It looks like it's a standard that gets mounted to the surface of the wall and has like a little angled flange on either side to help make it look less like a bulkier hardware and more like a nice, clean, tapered face. So we have that. That's great. That was something we were missing the other day. And then what are we missing here too? So there's probably going to be some brackets that attach to that type M standard that allow you to mount these glass shelves to them. And we need to find that too. See if they have anything indicating which bracket arm they would like us to use. So here are the different brackets offered by Rax. You can see here that there are several different varieties. And here, I'm not seeing any sort of specification that really denotes, hey, we want this specific one. So what we're going to try to do then is we're going to go back to our architectural drawing set, and we're going to pull up that section view where the glass shelving lives, and we're just going to see what that looks like. So here, what we're seeing right now is it looks like a rectangular arm. You see it's got a little bit of a chamfered or a radiused front at the top there. And so most likely looking at that and then looking back at the Rax offers here, see what they have, because I think the closest thing to that is probably just this standard rack style, just the metal arm. And maybe that's what they were referring to when they said rack style, and that's probably exactly what it is. So it is their standard bracket with the Type M standard attached. Okay. Well, hey, that answers a question that we had earlier. So I hate to segue off of that, but we do need to add that into the materials and hardware list for this project. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And then what we'll do is we'll try to find any relevant resources that we have on those two standards and brackets and add them to our blocks and equipment for the project. So let's see, while that's loading, here we go. Oh, load all types. Let me get to that, and then we'll add those equipment in, or well, I'll call them out as hardwares here because they're kind of a hardware product. So we're going to go. Our last known hardware was hardware 53. This is the ARC reference of NA since there is not one. We're going to go hardware 54, and we'll need two. So we'll need 54 and 55. So let's go ahead and add both. Again, adding the submittal to the hardware, so that way it shows up there. And both of these are going to say racks. And then we got to find the actual product spec for those items. So we have the Type M standard. Let's start there. There's a spec book here. Maybe this will help us find that. All right, let's get that open. Hopefully they've got something. Okay, M standard. And then I also want to see if I can locate that on their website here too. So it would be wall-mounted shelving, I believe. And then it's Type M. I don't know if they have a specific website that takes you to just Type M. And maybe they don't. It might just be a general website that shows all the different bracket types they offer. So yeah, under components, you could see there, it won't let me go to a link to that. So that's okay though. So we know that it's M standard is the type. So it's racks M standard. It doesn't look like there's a serial number associated to that from what I'm seeing here. I was also looking here to make sure there's not one there too. Sometimes you'll see that, but I'm not seeing one here. Oh wait, there's model number right there. Okay, my bad. There actually is one. So we're going to go back here. So let's start here, SM-XXX. And they call that out is the M style wall standard. All right, and then let's look for our finish too. I believe that there was a finish specified on the architectural drawing. So we're going to look at that again. Looks like black semi-gloss finish is what they're requesting for that. So black semi-gloss finish. Okay. We'll do the next one here, which will be our standard, which is the rack style bracket arm, which you got to go find that again. There it is, rack style, and I gotta see if I can find that in that spec book that I pulled up. Go rack style bracket, see if they give us a product number, which it looks like we do have a few. We do want to make sure we're pulling the correct one. So these are designed for different shelf depths, so be very careful as you're looking for hardware to make sure that there's nothing like that that you gotta watch out for. Since we know they're for specific depths, we do need to try to figure out what is our shelf depth so we can specify the correct bracket arm length. So I'm not given a depth right here. What we'll do is we'll check the plan view as well to make sure that there's not a depth called out there. And if there's no depth called out there, we can resort to scaling the section view to pull that information, but I would highly encourage you to try to use all your other available resources first before going that route. Okay, so here we're seeing the shelf here as well. Again, no dimension provided, so we will have to try to figure that out. So I'm going to take this plan view. This is a horizontal section slash horizontal, well, kind of a plan section through the a cabinet that we're putting these shelves in. And so what we want to do is we want to take the scale that we show on the print. We're going to go over to our presets. We're going to pick up that 1.5 inches equals a foot scale, just like it shows here. And before we go ahead and measure something on here, we do want to verify an existing dimension to make sure that that scale is in fact correct, which it looks like it is. So that's good. Just to be sure it's actually what they're saying it should be. So right here, we have a shelf depth of 15 inches. There's a small gap between the shelf and the wall, which is probably normal for this type of shelf. So let's go back to that Racks brochure we had pulled up. And let's see what they have close to 15. So we don't want a bracket arm that protrudes proud of the shelf. So obviously this 16-inch shelf bracket being 15.25 deep is a little too deep for what we want. So we're going to end up using the rack style 14-inch shelf bracket here, which will be the BR014. Okay, BR014, and then the name of that is the Racks style for 14-inch shelf. And then just like the other one, we do want to make sure that it's the same finish, black semi-gloss finish for that. And we can label these as hardwares with our type, which we haven't done that yet, but we will here. And then the last thing we want to do is throw a link in that as well. So what I would like to do is throw a link to the web page that we found all of that information from, which is here. I'm going to copy that, and we're going to paste it in the OS call link right there. Again, purpose of that is to give ordering as well as drafting the ability to pull that up quickly and research the hardware or the finish that you're referencing. So now we got a couple more hardwares to add. All right, let's get back to where we were though. So we were going to look up all the equipment, plumbing, and hardware first. So what I would like to do is now that we have that added to the hardware list, we're going to come back to here and we're going to see if they have any CADs for the rack standard shelving. I click that, it takes me down to here under resources, design resources, and then you're going to see downloads here. It looks like they give you a zip file. So we're going to open that up and we're going to try to pull any relevant information that we need from this folder here. So it looks like we have the wall mounted standards here, which is great. And I believe these would be considered rack style brackets or floating brackets. I guess we're gonna have to open these and see which of these is the correct one that we need. So let's take a look at that. Okay, that actually looks to be exactly what we need. There's your BR style bracket. So this is under the rack style brackets CAD file. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna take this as well as the wall mounted standards, which is right here. I'm going to open that up again to make sure that the type M is involved in there. And it looks like it's right there. Cool. So we need these two CAD files, and what we're going to do is organize them in the job folder. So I'm going to copy these. Well, here, let me just actually leave this off to the side for a hot minute. We're going to open up File Explorer, another tab. We're going to go to our Perkins and Will job folder under Drawings and Architecturals, and then we're going to go to the Equipment Cut Sheets and Specs. Here, what we're going to do is start labeling all of the equipment out. So without further ado, these here don't have equipment calls on them, I don't believe, or maybe they do. One sec. Look and see what they refer to this as. Okay, they call it EQ1. So I guess I got to go back and add that to the material log here too. No big deal. Where the NA would be, that actually refers to EQ1. So I'm going to throw that in there as a reference. All right, back to this. So we're going to call this here equipment cut sheets. We're going to create a folder called EQ1. And then in that folder, we are going to drop those two CAD files that we need. So the wall mounted standards and the rack style brackets. They both fit right in there. So then we got all that together. Now let's go on to the next equipment. Or actually, before we do that, let's also pull in the PDF file too. That way, if a project manager or somebody else on the team that doesn't have access to AutoCAD needs to refer to these, we can also give them this information too. So I'm downloading these spec sheets now. Same place, we're going to drop them in that equipment cut sheets folder under EQ1. And I can download the install guide too. Any relevant information that's going to be helpful to anybody later on, I want to include here. So, all right. I saw that one came in as a zip folder, so I'm going to do is extract that folder. Okay, and then the zip folder, I'm just going to throw in an archive just to clear down the clutter a bit. Okay, so yeah, so you can see what I did there. I pulled any CAD files I could find online for that. Any cut sheets, spec sheets, or install guides I'm throwing in there as well. And we're going to do that now for the rest of these equipments here too. All right, so next one. Gotta clear out some of this too. Sorry about that. Okay, next one. We got EQ2, which clearly is not used, all the way to EQ4, again, not used. So we can skip on down to EQ5, which appears to be a Summit under-counter refrigerator. So let's make our folder EQ5. And then we need to go on Summit's website and find that refrigerator. Summit. Do we got a spec number on this thing? All right there, FF7BK. IFADA. There we go, Summit Appliances. And again, we already looked at this the other day. There is a panel ready cover on the front of this appliance, so we do need to make sure that we try to find the panel ready dimensions too. So Summit's website is pretty common. You'll see that a lot for equipment like refrigerators and ice makers and things like that. If you want, scroll on down a little bit further and you'll see there's usually a brochure. A lot of times there will also be CADs for these, and if you don't see them, there are going to be times where you're not going to get them every time. So we're still going to download everything that we possibly can to pull any information for that equipment. So here we've got the product brochure. We have instructions which also includes the door panel instructions here, which is very helpful. All right. And then use and care is probably not something we need. I will include it anyway, but this is more likely to do with how to maintain and clean the machine. But we'll throw that in there as well. Again, just trying to research any relevant information that we could use to be able to draw the equipment. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just going to quickly skim through this one more time to see if there's any way that they have, or any signifier that there may be a way to get to CADs for this too. Occasionally you may see something like resources down here or CADs down here in these areas that may actually help too. But like I said before, not every single equipment is going to actually have that CAD file, unfortunately. Just trying a last ditch effort here. Yeah, unfortunately, there's no CADs on that. That's okay. That is a-okay. We'll just do what we need to do for that. Okay, so equipments we're good on. Let's see, we have EQ1, EQ5 in our folder. We're going to move on to plumbing fixtures next. So close that, close that, close that, close that. We're going to go on to that. So back in the equipment cut sheets, I will go ahead and start by making my folder. So we have a PF1, which includes a faucet as well as a sink. So we will have to double research each of these categories, it looks like. So we'll start with PF1. It's kind of nice that they grouped them together. It'll make it easier to draw them when we get there. So PF1, PF2, and PF3. All right, let's start at PF1. This is a brand of sinks that I'm not familiar with. Crosstown 18 gauge stainless steel sink. Let's see if we can locate that. Crosstown BCTRU 12 17 9 TC. Oh, Crosstown is not the brand. It's the name of the sink. Sometimes they'll actually have, like, this is an LK sink, but it's actually like the name of the sink is Crosstown. Okay, I get you. So LK here, they have a pretty good variety of different things you can download. So we have a spec sheet here, which we're going to grab that right away, download that. It gives you all the install information as well as any like details that may be relevant to helping us draw this. Let's go back a step because we have several CAD files and instructions to download as well. We don't have to get every one of these, but I will get any install instructions and spec sheets at least. Okay, and then I'm not going to grab that, but I will grab these CAD. So you can see here we have a drawing of the CAD drawing of the sink from the front, the right-hand side, the left-hand side, and the top. There's also one separate CAD file, which is uber important too, which is our cutout template. This is going to be used by our stone vendor, which then will be able to, and we're going to label these two that make sense. So cutout template. The stone vendor will use that cutout template to be able to actually draw or actually cut out the stone for us so the sink fits in there. And occasionally like this, you'll get CAD files that are just kind of all over the place. And so I'm going to go ahead and save these just like this with a name that makes sense. See here. and survey and front view. We probably won't use all of these, but we will use most of these anyway. Probably the left and the right and the top view at the very least. So we're going to keep doing that for the rest of these plumbing fixtures here. Let's see, what else do we have in the architecture roles? So PF01, you can see our faucet there is a Kohler brand faucet called the Purist. And there's our product number there. So we're going to go over to Kohler's website next. Well, I can just type in Kohler, and the product number is usually the quickest way to get to any of these. I'm going to make sure I'm on the real Kohler website. There it is right there, 7509. And BL just stands for matte black as far as the finish goes. So here's the website for that faucet that goes with that sink. And if you scroll down, you'll see design files here. Oh my gosh. Design files here, and we're going to look at specifications too, because you'll want to download that spec sheet. This will go into that same folder, PF1. And then we need to download these as well. So we got our plan view. And this one, maybe I should specify what the CAD is for, because we do have a separate sink from a faucet. So I'm going to download these individually. Faucet, front view. And then faucet side view. Okay. And then there's a 3D file which we can download the DWG of. It'll be nice to have. Faucet 3D. And let's see what else they give us. Oh, that's actually it. So we've actually downloaded all of those. I will also grab the install guide here too, in case we need it. Most likely won't need it, but we're going to grab that just in case too. Okay, so that's all downloaded the folder. And that's everything we have for PF1. So PF2 and 3 are going to be the same process. We're just going to have to do some research, find these products online, and then download any relevant information to those folders. Once we've done the rest of the faucets, there is a equipment schedule over here. You'll also see that there is, this might not be so important to us because this is actually like shop equipment. And we've already done the equipment that relates to the millwork over here. So that's actually, we don't really need this part. A lot of times you'll also see accessories like plumbing accessories, and you won't really need that either. That's something that is mostly related to what's going on the walls of the restroom. Now, there might be a weird case where maybe you do need it, but like most of the time, these grab bars and things like that or toilet paper dispensers don't actually interact with the millwork. So a lot of times, if there's nothing there that interacts with what we're doing, we don't have to worry about that so much. We'll get the rest of the plumbing fixtures pulled in though here. So I'm going to move on to PF2 next and find that. And then after we've done that, we might take a short break here, and then we'll break this into a part A and B, just because it's one of the longest processes in setting up a project. So we'll finish this out here first. Whoops. Okay, we'll finish this out here first, and then we'll break off after that. So again, Kohler's website, we just saw one of these websites earlier. We've already kind of gotten familiar with how this works. Spec sheet for the sink. I'm going to download that. And I'll go back and clean up PF1, but I think what I want to do is actually label these as sync spec sheet. That way it's actually clear as to what we're opening when we open these files. Okay, sync spec sheet. Go back. Let's see, is there an install guide? Looks like it. Let's go ahead and download that. Sync install guide. Okay. And then we should have some CADs, hopefully. Yep, we got a plan view. Sync top view. Sync front view. Sync side view. And then we have a 3D file of this sync, which is pretty cool. Sync 3D. And we do have that cutout template too. Always remember to grab that if you see one. Okay, moving on to the faucet. All right, so next up, let's go back, grab that equipment or plumbing list. We got another Kohler product, which helps a lot. So it's the Kohler K103C36 SANA. There it is right there. Kohler composed faucet. All right, now let's go ahead and grab anything we need from here. Let's go to spec sheets, find that. Okay, download this. Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. That doesn't appear to be right. Yeah, that's a sync. Maybe my search didn't go through. Let me try that again, I'm sorry. Come on. SANA. Okay, now we're here. I'm sorry, that was weird. All right, so specs. Download our spec sheet. This is a PF2 faucet spec sheet. Let's see, we got an install one, install guide 1 and 2. Interesting. Faucet install guide 1. And we got faucet install guide 2. Again, not sure why there's 2 of these, but that's okay. And then we're going to look for the CADs. So we got a plan view, faucet top view. All right, then we've got faucet front view. We got the side view. And we have the 3D file, so faucet 3D. Okay, nothing else here that we can download, no cut sheets for cutouts and counters, so we're okay there. All right, moving on, let's check out the last set, PF3. So the first thing we have is a Delta sync bowl. So Delta sink 95303 4-24 SLSS. There you go. Make sure that's the correct number. 95. Okay, yep, there we go. So let's see what we got. Documents and specs. There we go. There's our spec sheet for that sink. Going back, see what else we can download from here. See if we got install guide, perhaps. There's your install sheet here. Come on. I'm hoping they have CADs. I've never really worked with Delta for commercial projects, so I'm really hoping they have something here. Man, they have a lot of pop-ups though, that's for sure. Okay, so let's see if they have anything here. They may not, and that's okay. It would be preferable if they did, but I might have to email them and find out. All right. Oh, wait, I thought I just saw something. Here we go. Oh, download product catalogs. Let's see. I'm going to check for pros and see if there's anything there. Again, you kind of have to, oh, here's design files. Okay, cool. That's what I was looking for. Sometimes they hide them and you got to do some digging to find these things, but that's okay. We've got this. So I'm going to close these out and we're going to try to search for that number for the sink and see what comes back. Let's see. PF3 is the 95303 4-24 SL SS. No results. Okay. Unfortunately, it does not look like they're on here, which is okay. I mean, we did our work. We tried to figure that out. So let's move on to the next thing, which would be another faucet. This is going to be by Chicago Faucets. And it's the 540-AB CP. Let's take a look and see what this looks like. That was a very commercial sink, so we may not even need this anyway. But let's try to find any information we can just to be on the safe side. Let's see, support. We have a 3D file here. And this will be faucet 3D. Good morning. Let's see, we got a parts diagram. We can get that here. And let's see, spec sheet. Let's go ahead and snag that too. And then anything else, it would be this wall-mounted exposed faucets instructions for install guide. So it'd be faucet install guide. Alrighty, so that kind of concludes what we were doing there. We've got all of our equipment, all of our faucets and sinks, and there's nothing else in the accessories that we need, so we're good on that part. And I believe anything that's in here, this isn't typical to have a shop equipment schedule, but I don't believe any of this interacts with the millwork. And if we do need to find this later, we absolutely can. But that should be everything that we need for now. So I'm going to stop this recording and we will pick up on a part B to conclude where we left off with putting these blocks down that we have into the template and then filling out the template to get it ready for the drafting team.